Bash in Berlin review. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, for a PLE that we thought was pretty predictable for the most part, and I think it was for the most part.
Yep.
Still a fun show.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I mean, just match. That's about it. No middle stuff.
Yeah, about 3 hours roughly.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Let's get right into it, though. About 45 minutes or so before the show, it was announced Cody and Kevin Owens are going to open this show, and that's what they do. And all the stuff going into it was, what's going to happen here? Is KO going to heel turn? SmackDown left us with sort of like a weird, they whispered in each other's ear type thing. What's going to go on? Well, they get into the ring, and the first thing that you notice is this Berlin crowd is ready for this PLE, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, they were loud. Whole show.
Yeah.
One of the top crowds ever.
Yeah, 27 years, obviously.
Yeah.
Since, obviously they had the SmackDown there, but the PLE there, I mean, and they brought it. I mean, it was worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there were 5 matches, I was thorough. I took a lot of good notes, so these matches are going to be pretty detailed.
There
but,
we go.
That's what it's about. So they started off back and forth early in the story between these two where they're best friends. They know each other's moves. Like, they've been good friends. They've been fighting together for years at this point now. So it's hard to get the best of each other. Cody would go for a disaster kick early, but he would miss it. And then Owens with the senton out of that. And then both guys would go for their finishers early. And that would kind of lead to them getting mad at each other. Like Rhodes would go for the crossroads. He'd break out of it. And then KO would go for the stunner. He'd break out of it. And they look at each other like, oh, you really want to do this? Finishers this early. And they start smacking each other. But good stuff here. There was a slow middle, but Cody puts Owens into multiple submission maneuvers in this. He puts him in a figure 4, and Owens kind of sells a little bit of an arm injury there, but it doesn't get fully sold the whole match. Owens would eventually get the upper hand here. He'd frog splash Cody Rhodes, who was laying on the outside of the ring on the mat. And Owens would just get on the apron, frog splash off there. Cool spot. Very cool spot. Anyway, we move on. Cody Rhodes would hit a Cody Rhodes cutter, 1-2 ooh, and then Owens would get right back up, hit Cody with a big old neck breaker, 1-2 ooh there, so they're trading off 1-2s. We would get a top rope rolling senton by Kevin Owens, which is also a 1-2 ooh. Cody cutter he would try again, it would get reversed again into a stutter, and but when he goes for the stunner, Cody would catch him out of the stunner. So like, how you do a stunner is KO puts his arms behind Cody's neck, and Cody be like, nope, catches his arms, hits the crossroads, the first one, 1-2, ooh, there. Then the fun stuff happens, right? So on SmackDown, it was revealed Cody Rhodes has a knee injury, and Kevin Owens the whole thing was he doesn't want to do this match because if he beats an injured Cody Rhodes, people will say he beat an injured Cody Rhodes. And Cody would go for a super Cody cutter here where he, goes one turnbuckle at a time onto the ropes, a lot of jumping stuff. And when he gets to the top rope, knee gives out. Ow, ow, ow. And when he does this, he's kind of bent over in the corner, not looking at Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens looks at Cody and goes, the knee is right there, but he won't do it. He will not attack it. Instead, he throws Cody outside the ring. They start to get into a little bit of a slap fight outside the ring, and Kevin would say something to Cody, kind of checking on him, and Cody would yell, I'm fine. And he'd start hitting Kevin Owens, threw him off the announce table, and Kevin was like, you know what? Fine. Goes for the knee. When he goes for the knee, he gets him down, and he puts him in the position to do his power bomb onto the apron that he does on so many people. Couldn't find the heart to do it. He doesn't have the killer instinct. Corey, it was not Corey Graves. Yeah, Wade Barrett was yelling at him.
Yeah.
He was very mad about it.
Shut up.
Yeah. KO would get Cody into the ring and hit him with the Stone Cold Stunner. Kevin Owens Stunner. 1-2 ooh here. Then all the fun stuff happens. Cody, they go back and forth real quick. Cody would catch Kevin Owens with the crossroads, and Cody would do his patented I only win with 3 of them, right? So he'd get him up, hit him with a second crossroads, get him up again, go for a third, but KO reversed it into a Stone Cold Stunner. Another one. 1-2 ooh. No win there.
Nope.
Cody was then laying in the ring. Kevin Owens, how am I going to finish this guy off? Would go to the top rope to try to do the swanton. Cody would get his knees up. Kevin Owens lands on it. Ow, ow, my knee. But Cody Rhodes was able to get him up one more time for another crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes wins. They do hug after the match. Kevin Owens raises Cody Rhodes' hands. But, this was great. This was a great match. No heel turn, nothing like that. But it was good. Pop. Cody Rhodes has beaten Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. I thought it was a good way to start out the PLE. The only complaint I would probably say was it was kind of like a finisher fest for me.
Yeah.
A little bit too much crossroads, a little bit too much stunner action.
Yeah.
And I get sometimes with some of these PLEs, they tend to do that a little bit.
Yeah.
But especially Cody. Cody kind of does that a lot.
Yeah.
But all in all, it was a good match. There was some good storytelling. It makes me wonder what's going to happen because, I don't know, they kept teasing Kevin doesn't have that killer instinct, but eventually he's going to find that again. So it kind of makes me wonder if they run that back again like we've thought. I mean, Solo said he was coming for whoever, but you've got kind of a weird triangle then if that's the case. So I do kind of hope they do run this back and Kevin kind of brings that kind of killer instinct back and not necessarily turns heel, but maybe just a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. In terms of the finishers and stuff, yeah, it's too much at this point. I love him to death, and it's fun when you're watching it, but when you think about it, it's like, man, Roman was right. The crossroads sucks. I mean, you need 4 of them a match to put a guy out, and then one of the greatest finishing moves of all time, the stunner. Cody's eating 3 of those and kicking out every single time, so you have that, obviously. In terms of Kevin Owens turning heel, I can't believe he didn't turn heel here. Where the story goes after that, you got to think that that's still going to come because we really don't have a clear path for Cody after this unless you want to throw Solo back into the mix. But personally, right? Let that be with Roman.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Personally, it's can you stay away? I mean,
yeah.
Because you think about it, what has he done? Right? He lost that title match.
Yeah.
They've kind of been in their hair and attacking them from time to time, but he hasn't done anything to deserve it. Same thing, I guess, as Kevin, if Cody's just handing out title shots. So I guess I kind of go against my logic there, but I don't want to see Solo and Cody. I'd rather see Kevin and Cody again. Like I said, a little bit more of an aggressive KO. Like I said, not heel KO. He doesn't have to go full blown heel, but maybe just a tweener again.
I don't know. I think personally, if I want to see this match again, it's going to have to be with a full heel turn KO. I think that this was as best as you could do of him tweener in it, him really fighting himself not to go full heel. So I think that the only way that we can really have a payoff at this point is for KO to do the heel turn, get the bad blood going, and I guess finish the fight at the bad blood. So it just makes sense.
Yeah, and I agree with that part. I think that is probably the route that they do go. It's just for me, it's a quick turnaround again for him to turn heel, I guess.
Yeah. And
you cram it into a month, and then he goes and loses to Cody, and it's well, he just lost to Cody. I'm not going to take him seriously. You know what I mean? So yeah. I just want them to be hesitant on that side of things. I don't want them to put out the fire behind KO because as we saw tonight, the crowd loved KO.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't want to see the fire put out of a heel KO before it gets going.
I agree. And at the end of the day, this match was exactly what we said. It was we knew the outcome, but they put on a show, and that's great. We moved on to the second match because this PLE was literally all about the matches. There was basically nothing else, which is totally fine, man. Give me a noon pay-per-view that I can just watch the matches, drink some beers. Let's have some fun. We would get the Women's Tag Team Championship match, Bianca and Jade taking on the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. And this match delivered in a great way. I was very pleasantly surprised with it. A lot of heat, or not a lot of heat, but the crowd's hot after Cody and Owens. This would have been an easy place to put this match for the reason of they can cool down for a minute. But everybody was hot here. So the match would start and all 4 would immediately get in the ring. And we were uh-oh, it's going to be that, huh? But they would all 4 get in the ring, and Jade and Bianca would absolutely dominate. And I was kind of thinking squash at this point in a little bit of a way. Bianca was fighting mad. That's kind of been their whole thing going into this rivalry is we never should have lost the titles, and we're ready to get it back, right? So Bianca's fighting mad, but she's dominating until Unholy Union, they both get into the ring and 2v1, the numbers eventually overcome Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
They take her out of the ring, and Alba Fire does a suicide dive to Jade when she tries to come and help Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
Unholy Union would dominate a good part of this match. They dominate Bianca, working a hot tag to Jade. During this time, Unholy Union would go ahead and they do a bunch of their tag team maneuvers on them. A lot of instant tags move, instant tags, instant move. I like that we're doing this with tag teams now, making them feel like teams. Good stuff.
Yep.
They would do a lot of stuff with Bianca's hair. They were always pulling her hair. Whenever she tried to go for a tag, pull the hair back. When they get her into the corner, they keep her in the corner by wrapping her hair around the rope. Creative stuff there, and it's like, maybe you need to cut that hair because you don't use it enough to to justify the ass.
Yeah, I mean, now that she's full blown over the top like face, right? Like she doesn't really do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of like a signature though of her though.
Yeah.
So
of course.
But good for Unholy Union to kind of try to capitalize on that at least.
It's a cool thing. It's like when football players have long hair and they get tackled by it. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's there, pull it.
Mm-hmm.
But she'd get close to tagging in Jay, getting the hot tag until Alba Fire would actually do a sweet little move. She'd catch Bianca with like a one of those DDTs where she runs off the ropes, but she would run off Jade's face, basically. So she'd have Bianca in a DDT, swing around, kick Jade off the ring, and then DDT Bianca. Just good stuff here, man. Really good stuff. But the hot tag eventually was made. Jade would come in, double clothesline to Bo. She'd spine buster Isla Dawn, and then she'd do a fallaway slam to Alba Fire. She is basically a one-woman wrecking machine, I think is what Michael Cole said.
Mm-hmm.
Jade would hit she hit a jackhammer on Isla Dawn.
Yeah.
I hope people talk about that. I've never seen a woman jackhammer somebody. It was sick. Anyway, Unholy Union would get the advantage, though. They would hit a tag finisher on Bianca, because eventually Bianca got the tag in, and Jade would break the pin, and then Jade and Bianca would hit not a finisher, but they'd hit a tag team maneuver and go for the pin on Isla Dawn, but that pin would get broken up by Alba Fire. Then we got the end here. So Unholy Union would have Bianca in their tag team finisher maneuver where Isla Dawn is laying on the ground holding Bianca in sort of like a code breaker-esque move.
Yeah, it's like a code. It's like almost like a backstabber. Remember when Carlito used to do that, like a backstabber,
right? A backstabber,
and holds her for the swanton. Yeah,
and she holds her up for Alba Fire's swanton, and Alba Fire would jump for the swanton, and Jade would pull Bianca away from it, leading to Alba Fire swanton bombing Isla Dawn. They'd get into the ring, Jade and Bianca. They would hit their kick up into a suplex finisher move, which is sick. They need a name for it. But Bianca and Jade get the win. They are the new women's tag team champions. Mm-hmm. This was necessary. Popping this all the way.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. The story throughout the match, at least for me, was Unholy Union were the better tag team.
Yes.
Like they worked more cohesively than Jade and Bianca. But at the end of the day, Jade and Bianca, we say it, they're powerhouses, they're freak athletes, they're just stronger, they're faster, they're better. I mean, just anything else you want to say. And they kind of took over at the end of the day. So the right team won. We'll see if we get a rematch. I kind of highly doubt that. Just me personally, at least, I wouldn't really want to see that. But we'll see who they face. I guess maybe Damage Control would be my first thought.
Not the Pure Fusion Collective? Come on, bro.
No, well, they were there, but Damage Control just beat them.
Yeah, I know.
But we'll see if those titles kind of bounce back and forth. I feel like SmackDown kind of needs them right now. So hopefully they kind of, I know they're supposed to bounce back and forth, but hopefully they kind of stick more towards SmackDown, for me at least.
Yeah.
I need something for SmackDown right now. And like I said, right team won. They'll go on a nice little run here, and then ultimately we'll get that feud whenever that's down the line.
Exactly. Like you said at the beginning, Unholy Union was a better tag team here, but there's just sometimes in wrestling, there's just the obvious look and feel of the moment of these people need to have the belts. We watch all of our PLEs with friends who only watch the PLEs, right? So they come over with us. They don't watch any wrestling. They love our channel, but they don't watch any weekly television. They just watch the PLEs. And one of the guys here was like, "Oh, I just thought they were champions." Mm-hmm. They walk out and they don't even need the belt. It's just oh, they're obviously the champions, right? Mm-hmm. That's how imposing they are. And so this was the right team, obviously. They gave Unholy Union a good little title reign here, or at least in length. And I think that they came out of this match looking great too. They did not get bitched out by Jade and Bianca. They held their own, and this was just a clean win by Jade and Bianca, who outsmarted them in the end. But no one looks bad here. Like you said, get the belts to Jade and Bianca. We've been saying it for months. Get it to them. Go on the reign, and then eventually, whenever they think that Jade has wore off her greenness and is ready for it, give us that rivalry into WrestleMania. So this is the step we need.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little hesitant or maybe nervous, I guess would probably be better, for Unholy Union now. Like, I have a fear for them that, even though I think they said this was the 4th title defense for them, so a pretty decent number of defenses in modern WWE, at least. I'm a little nervous that they'll just kind of go off to the wayside, because that tends to be what happens. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully they don't. They deserve to be a mainstay. Anyway, we move it on to the strap match. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. This was a match that I coined in our predictions that it had no stakes, but all the stakes. I said that this is a match that's for nothing, but it's for the fans' buy-in. It's for us to give us a reason to still care about this rivalry, and for us to continue this rivalry that's been happening since Mania, where we've only seen one match, right? Mm-hmm. So we're months and months out from Mania, and we've seen one match. We need a reason to keep loving. Yeah. They gave it to us. All right? They gave it to us. Holy shit. So Drew McIntyre is the first one out to the ring. When CM Punk makes his entrance, Drew McIntyre's like, I'm not waiting. So CM Punk gets on the apron, does his turn where he acknowledges his German crowd. Drew attacks. And he would throw him off the steps, throw him off the announce table, beats the hell out of him, grabs the strap before they put it on each other's wrist, and whips him a few times with it. I mean, these guys whipped the shit out of each other all match.
Yeah.
And after he gets enough of a beating to where he's satisfied with the pre-match beating that he's given Punk, Drew would go ahead and put the strap on each guy.
Yep.
And so how this, just to set the table, because it took us a while to understand the actual rules of the match. So we all know that in strap matches, you have to hit each turnbuckle, and a light would turn green, or red. Drew is red. Punk was green this match for whoever hit it. But I don't know if they did this in the past. How they did it this time was any offense from the opposing guy resets the lights.
I vividly remember the SmackDown JBL. I want to say Batista. I want to say that's how that worked. But again, it's one of those things that we haven't seen a strap match for so long that it's like, okay, that's how that works. You know what I mean? It takes a minute to kind of connect at least.
Yeah, so those are the rules. Anyway, and you have to hit all 4 corners, obviously. So, Punk early on was getting whooped because he got jumped. And he tried to get out of the ring, but Drew McIntyre would take the strap and keep pulling him into the apron from outside the ring. A cool spot that later in the match, Punk would also do to Drew. But Punk was getting whooped until all of a sudden, he hit a GTS out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Hits GTS out of nowhere, and Punk would look at the turnbuckle to go hit it, but he decides, nah, I'm not going to do that. Mm-mm. He'd go and start beating the hell out of Drew, whipping him. Drew would eventually get the upper hand, go outside, and he would want to put Punk through a table, but Punk would flip Drew over his head directly onto the announce table, and he'd whip him even more. And then he'd go and pull out an actual table from underneath the ring, which Drew would pull a Nia from last night and be like, nope, I'm the heel. This table goes under the ring. Mm-hmm. So good stuff. Anyway, Drew would go, Drew would keep whipping Punk. And then they were on the outside of the ring, so Drew would go get a chair right next to good old the announcer, whatever her name is. Samantha Irving, the great Samantha Irving. Sorry for getting her name. And he would clip CM Punk in the forehead to the point where Punk was bloody.
Yep.
Bleeding down his face. Mm-hmm. And Drew would actually get a table back out because he wants it, and he would set it out on the outside of the ring for future purposes. But when he rolled Punk back into the ring, he noticed he was bloody, and so Drew just got down and started headbutting him, busting him open even more. Yeah. But good stuff there. Drew would take that same chair, though, and wedge it into one of the turnbuckles, and then he would go ahead and start hitting some corners, because that's how you win this match.
Yep.
But Punk would stop him, hitting a running bulldog, and so he hit the running bulldog, he'd back up again, run back at Drew one more time, Claymore. Drew hit the Claymore, first Claymore of the night, and Drew would take this moment to hit 3 buckles, But on the third one, he realized I can't pull anymore. What the hell's happening? Punk's rolled outside the ring and pulls the strap into the turnbuckle that Drew had just wedged the chair in, and Drew's head smashes directly into the chair.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Really smart spots throughout this match.
Really smart. And when I say that they whip each other, like just imagine every time I say whip, it's like 4 whips.
Yeah.
I mean, they were smacking each other.
Yeah. And they weren't just like, we talk a lot about like modern WWE where like that or chair shots and they don't really throw them.
Oh, they
were throwing them.
You could see the welts all over their body. I mean, I bet there are pictures already. We're filming this right afterward, but I bet if you go on the internet, I bet they already have pictures of their backs and they're just battered.
Yep, for sure.
They would go back and forth, just kind of standard wrestling in the ring after this, because you need to wrestle in a wrestling match, until Drew would pick up CM Punk, just literally pick him up like a baby, walk him over to the rope, toss him over the rope through the table that was set up on the outside. Just toonk.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you mean, why not, you know?
Which works if you want to hurt CM Punk. You know what doesn't work, though? It doesn't work when he's laying outside the ring and you're attached to the man and your job is to go touch all these turnbuckles that are way away from you. Yeah. So he's sitting there like, God damn, I can't touch turnbuckles if CM Punk's dead on the outside of the ring.
Yep.
So what does he do? He like yanks CM Punk. He yanks CM Punk to get him back into the ring. Right after he gets into the ring, CM Punk, he picks CM Punk up onto his shoulders, and Fireman carries him because he's like, this man's dead, so I'm just going to go carry him across the ring, touch every turnbuckle.
Smart move.
Smart move, of course. And as he's doing this, he would touch a turnbuckle, CM Punk would touch a turnbuckle. Next turnbuckle, he'd touch it, CM Punk would touch it. He wouldn't know. But the thing here was, while they were doing this, no offense was being done in between. So both men had all 3 turnbuckles.
Yeah, like 3 out of the 4. Yep.
3 out of 4. And so somehow, I think Punk, before the 4th one, I mean, he had to get off his shoulders because he would have lost, right? So he got off his shoulders and Drew realized it, but they look around, they're like, that's the last one. But they ended up hitting each other, resets.
It is a cool little shot of them both like reaching for the turnbuckle.
I
like that.
Yeah. They'd reset all of them until Punk would put Drew into a sharpshooter. But Drew would kick CM Punk off, throw him off the sharpshooter into the turnbuckle, and now they're both laying there. When Drew sees that, he gets up, and what does he do? He reaches into his sweaty ass pants and pulls out the bracelet. Puts the bracelet on. Punk's bracelet, and then he hits a claymore on Punk. So we're all sitting there thinking, oh, maybe we're all wrong on this one. But he hits Claymore, puts the bracelet on, and with the bracelet hand, he walks around and hits not 1, not 2, but 3 of the buckles. And right before he gets the 4th, CM Punk whips him in really quickly, hits a GTS, looks at the bracelet on the wrist, but decides, you know what? No, I need to go for the buckle here. And he'd go hit 1 buckle, walk back, hit a GTS again, hit another buckle, walk back, hit another GTS, walk to the 3rd buckle, hits it. It's another GTS on Drew McIntyre. After the 4th, GTS, he'd go and he'd grab the bracelet from Drew's dead body, and then he put it in his hand, or on his wrist and his hand, where you can kind of see it like on his hand but wrist, and with that hand, hit the 4th buckle. CM Punk wins the strap match, a 5-star strap match, if I do say so myself. Pop.
Okay, Meltzer.
I love it.
That's what we're doing.
I love it.
Will Meltzer over there.
Yeah, Will Meltzer.
7 stars in the Tokyo Dome. I thought
easily.
I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. For me, I was a little bit concerned about this match. Like we talked about, how are they going to do this? The feud, admittedly, had been a little bit lacking for me.
Yep.
This match did everything that I thought it needed to and more, in terms of the match itself was really good. The storytelling in the match was really good. Punk gets the win. It actually makes me excited for the 3rd match,
100%.
Whenever that does happen, because I was a little nervous. Like, either the match doesn't deliver and it's like, oh, it is 1-1, but I don't really care about the 3rd match, or sometimes you might be like, oh, Drew might get the win. I mean, with how he ran away on Raw, we're like, we don't really know yet. This match exceeded my expectations, and I was like, okay, now I'm excited for this 3rd match, presumably Bad Blood.
Yeah.
And Yeah, not much more to say. I mean, I would go watch this match if you didn't see it live. I thought this match was really good.
Yeah, this was the way to bring back a gimmick and do it the right way. I mean, a lot of things here. So, as I said before this and stuff, this match had big stakes in terms of all of us staying connected to the rivalry and wanting to see more. After this, I'm completely with you. Not only do I want to see more, I want to see it in even grander way. Maybe a Hell in a Cell, as what people have been speculating. I would absolutely love that. But also, one thing that I want to point out, this match proved CM Punk can still go. He can still go. He was taking every lashing that he got. I mean, the big spots he was taking. He was step for step with Drew, and that's a big deal. It's been like, can this guy stay healthy? Does he have the wind, like the cardio? Can he keep up? This match proved it, and I couldn't be more happier for the guy. And I'm just looking forward for what's next now.
Yeah, that was a big takeaway too. Like we thought about SummerSlam, like the special guest referee, they kind of, I mean, Rollins wasn't a focal point of the match, but he also was, right?
Yeah.
Like, so he kind of maybe protected Punk a little bit because maybe Punk wasn't fully cleared. I mean, like we said, injuries, cardio time, ring rust, all that stuff is a thing. And yeah, Punk looked really, really good here.
Yeah, I'm so happy for them both because, I mean, I keep saying it, but the stakes here were big, and you could tell it's a rivalry they are both very invested in, and this just gives it new life. It's good stuff.
And Punk got the bracelet back, so
yeah, and now exactly. Now we're done with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Now this third match can just be about who's the better man.
Mm-hmm.
Go after it.
Right.
Whew. 2 more matches for the night. Bash of Berlin's looking real good so far. Liv and Dom versus Rhea and Damian the Terror Twins. This is when it gets a little... but they'd all come out to the ring, and Damian and Dom would start. Obviously, mixed tag team matches work like whatever gender's in the ring, the other one has to be in. So Rhea can't be in the ring with Dom, and Dom can't be whooping up on Rhea, and Liv and Damian can't fight.
Right. Right.
South of heaven to Liv Morgan. He puts her
exactly.
20 feet in the ground. Damian and Dom would start, and this was all Damian. I mean, just all Damian. Dominating. Then eventually Dom would get away and tag in Liv, which tags in Rhea. And this is Rhea. Dominating. The Terror Twins would basically take turns tagging in and out just so they could dominate. Just whooping the shit out of Dom and Liv. And I was sitting there like, oh no. Oh no. Eventually, though, Damian is tagged in with Dom, and they go to the outside of the ring. Damian throws Dom back into the inside of the ring, and before Damian can get back into the ring, Liv goes ahead and grabs his foot. Mm-hmm. Damian turns around like, what do you get involved with? And Dom is able to get the upper hand here. He hits him off the apron. He falls into the table, and then Dom's able to work a little bit. He throws him into the steel steps. We're getting some offense here from Damian, or from Dom and Liv. But we would eventually get Liv back into the ring, where Rhea would continue to dominate Liv. And this really irritated me that the women's world champion was just getting destroyed the entire match. I mean, it was a lot. Anyway, so Rhea was dominating. We get a broken arrow from Damian to Dom, who then would tag in Rhea, and then Rhea would continue to dominate. She would do a release German suplex, flying knees, but Dom wasn't just going to sit there and let Liv get beat up the entire day, so Dom would get into the ring, and he would even offer a hug. He's like, maybe I want my mommy back, because you're whooping up on Liv. It was obviously a facade, because Liv tries to attack, but Rhea is in God mode at this point, turns around, catches Liv, elbows her, she flies out of the ring, and Rhea would take Dom to the corner, where she would rehash the way that she got Dom to join the Judgment Day in the first place. She'd do that like leg lock submission where she holds onto the top rope. That was a nice little full circle moment.
I did like that. That was good.
Yeah, it was a full circle moment. But Rhea would go for the riptide on Dom when Liv would finally get some offense and break it up. She'd hit a code breaker, and she would do some general wrestling moves, including, I don't even know what that pin was that she did. She did some sort of like...
Yeah, I don't know.
It
was almost like a sunset flip, like variation or something.
That
I don't know.
That landed in a roll up.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah.
But 1-2 on that one. But we'd eventually get the hot tag to Damian, because Rhea was needing it, who would continue to dominate Dom with clotheslines. he would hit this wild clothesline on Dom where he'd actually go for a pin, and Liv would have to break the pin up.
Mhm.
Liv would go in and break it up at 2. I was like, was Dom about to lose on a clothesline? Okay. But all 4 would be in the ring where Rhea and Dom would hit double razors, or Rhea and Damian would hit double razors edges to Liv and Dom. Cool spot, but they are just destroying these people. Rhea would pick up Liv, throw her out of the ring, and says, destroy Dom to Damian. And Damian would put his hand around Dom's neck, assumedly going for the South of Heaven, until Judgment Day is finally here. They run in. Everybody's here. But Carlito runs up. Rhea destroys him real quick. But when she destroyed Carlito, Liv came running. They're on the outside of the ring. Liv came running off the steel steps and did like a Hurricane Rana into the barricade on him. And then Balor would come into the ring, hit the sling blade on Damian Priest. Dom would hit a 619 on Damian Priest. Dom would hit a top rope frog splash on Damian Priest. And Dom would get the 2 count on Damian Priest. 1, 2, ooh. When this happened, Finn Balor on the outside was like, okay, Rhea's down, Damian's down. How about we just try Rhea? So Dom, go tag Liv. And he tags Liv. Liv would suicide dive Rhea, bring her into the ring. But Rhea would kind of just pop up and get the advantage anyways. But then JD McDonough got on the rope to try to distract Rhea Ripley. And Damian Priest was there to literally take out all of the men in Judgment Day. He clotheslines Carlito, and then he clotheslines, he shoulder tackles JD over the announce table. Finn Balor comes running at him, and he gets rid of Finn Balor too. He clears off the announce table and gets up there with Dom, and Dom looks like he's going to get the advantage for a second until Damian Priest clotheslines the shit out of Dom, which he did that thing where he clothesline and gets backflips.
Like the Rikishi.
Yeah, it's
That's
cool.
what I always think
sell.
of as Rikishi. I don't know why.
It's a cool sell. But when he gets the best of Dom, he turns and looks in the ring, and Liv Morgan is looking around like, uh-oh, it's just me and the Terror Twins. I'm in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And Rhea Ripley gets her, hits the Riptide on her. 1, 2, 3. The Terror Twins beat Liv and Dom and all of the Judgment Day for that matter. I did not like this. Judgment Day officially has lost all credibility to me. I'm going to go ahead and drop it.
Yeah, the match itself, I thought the match itself was like a fun match.
Yes.
I thought they did the match well. Some cool spots, like you said, the Liv like flip over sunset powerbomb into the barricade thing, and some cool pins, and just some good interactions with Rhea and Dom specifically. I thought they had some good interactions, some good teases throughout the match. As a whole, though, I mean, Damian did just lose the world title. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense that he kind of dominates Dom. Rhea is always kind of in a stratosphere of her own to an extent. So, I guess I get that. But, like, Liv is your women's champion. Like, she needs to look better than what she did here. Judgment Day as a whole, there's no, like you said, there's no credibility. I try to look in, like, the positive. Like, maybe they think about it like we need to bring in somebody else or something else because of the loss. But it's like you could have still had them win the match and had that conversation, or at least I thought that you could have. It's just weird to me because like I feel like the Terror Twins have gotten the upper hand most of the time on the Judgment Day. Yeah. And so it's like, cool, PLE, there's a match. That's when the Judgment Day can use the numbers advantage. They can kind of try to outsmart them. That's 5-on-2. And they didn't. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, so Rhea Ripley's unstoppable. Damian Priest is unstoppable. And I'm still going to tune in specifically for this faction feud, whatever you want to call it, because I still do like Judgment Day, but it definitely does take the steam out of it. Like it is a drop for me. Like it really is just a kick in the pants, you know? Yeah, I'm with you here. If this match went this exact same way, but Liv and Dom somehow got the win, perfection. The match itself was fun, but at the end of it, it just is like, okay, does one more person really matter for the Judgment? Were they even close? No. Like at the end there, they were still not close. Finn Balor is getting wrecked in seconds. How am I supposed to believe that he's ever going to be a top guy again? Like he looked much better when he was the backup for Damian. Like he was doing more, getting wins. Yeah. And I know he's still a champion, but come on. And then in terms of Liv Morgan,
I mean, we can all love her as much as we want for her work with Dom, but she got like 5 moves of offense in this match. I mean, she didn't look like she could take Rhea at all. And I get that the idea is that Rhea is in another stratosphere than Liv, but I mean, come on, we need to even the playing field a little bit here, because now at this point, Rhea looks like she's in a world of her own. Why not? She should just take all the titles.
Yeah,
like that. Like that's how good she looks.
Well, she looks that good, and Damian. I mean, Damian destroyed the tag champs. Plus Carlito and Dom. So it's like, why isn't Damian just tag champ by himself? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I feel like the Terror Twins could run all of WWE and have all the titles right now after this PLE.
It just doesn't feel like there's a point to this faction, because Carlito and JD at this point are just literal throwaway pieces, like one hit wonders. Like they run in, they get hit with any maneuver, whether it's a simple clothesline, a shoulder tackle, and they're just out. And then you have Balor, who is supposed to be a leader, but he can't even get a move off on Damian except for a sling blade from behind, and he gets taken out with one punch too. It just this really muddied the water for me. And I'm with you on the whole, like, I'm still going to tune in because I think Judgment Day has done such a good job over the last year in general that they have earned my respect enough to go through a down part of their being, but they're officially on alert. Like you got to change something up and give me something to care about ASAP.
Well, you always talked about, like, with Judgment Day when Damian and Rhea were there, I guess, before they got him kicked out at times, or I guess Rhea was gone, she was off TV, but before she came back, like, there were times of like Looney Tunes. Yep. And this might have felt like the most Looney Tunes.
Yep, I agree.
I felt, because it's 5-on-2, and like I just don't get it. Like, I just don't understand the point now, because it kind of squashes it now.
Especially Damian, it's 4-on-1 on him. Mm-hmm. Like because the immediate rebuttal is it's 5-on-2, but Liv and Rhea are the only ones that can hit each other in that aspect. It's like, fair, I'll give you that. That's why we might need one other woman in here, but it's 4-on-1, including Finn Balor, who is a current champion and a past world champion. Like, come on here.
Well, if this is how they decided to do the match, I would have rather Judgment Day not had the run-in. Mm-hmm. I would have rather just Rhea and Damian dominate, and they destroy Dom and Liv. And then, because then at the end of the day, you could be like, oh, well, Judgment Day still has three guys that could come out, even the playing field against Damian. But to have him take out all of Judgment Day, I thought this was easily kind of the worst decision of the PLE, kind of the lowest spot for me.
100%. But it picked right back up because we got ourselves a main event that slapped. Literally. Yeah, literally. Hometown man Gunther taking on Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship. And because it was going on last, I was sitting there like, oh, is something going to happen here? Getting spicy.
Yeah, you thought so.
You thought so. They're doing the entrances in the ring. Lights are dimming. Ludwig takes the mic and does the classic Gunther entrance for the World Heavyweight title match. And they would stand there for what felt like 10 minutes before hitting each other because the crowd was going ballistic for this match. I mean, they were. It felt like a world championship for soccer over there, man.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like, like you said, like a World Cup final or something like that. Like, we say it felt like 10 minutes. I bet it was over 5. I mean, it was like, okay, like, we're soaking it in. And I don't want to diminish it or the crowd or anything, because the crowd is great. But I was also like, can I get to the match? You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, let me just get the match.
This was a Randy Orton and Gunther beginning to match through and through. Technical, long holds, long locks, simple takedowns, and the crowd was feeling that. So what did the crowd do? They started doing the wave. And it got to the point where Randy and Gunther canceled a lock, got up, and they're looking at each other, just letting this wave happen in the arena. And Randy looked at Gunther and was like, "You want to do it next?" And Gunther was just like, "No." So it was funny how they acknowledged what was happening in the stadium. But eventually they got to it. Huge chops from both guys. This happened a bunch. Gunther would get the early advantage here, but Randy would throw Gunther into the steel steps on the outside, and Gunther from that point on would sell a big old shoulder injury, which I don't know if he sustained that beforehand, because Michael Cole pointed it out, and we noticed throughout the match there was an actual big ass bruise on that shoulder of his.
Yeah, it was on the shoulder. There was some almost like rash, like when you, like street. What do they call that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Whatever it is, like when you go against pavement and you destroy your skin. That was on the forearm, on the wrist.
Yeah,
road rash.
Road rash.
That's
what
it is.
And so what does Randy Orton do? He attacks the shoulders the entire match. He takes Gunther over to the table, drops him on top of the table four times, man. 4 times. And when Gunther eventually gets a little bit of a comeback, he goes to chop. Can't even chop. My arm hurts, is what he says. It hurts really bad. And when he does that, obviously Randy attacks more. And Randy would own most of this match. He would follow a slam, just calculated attacks here and there. Gunther would have a comeback that was halted by a vintage Orton scoop slam. Mm-hmm. Good stuff there. But Gunther would reverse the vintage Orton DDT with a neck breaker on the ropes. They get back into the ring, but Randy Orton would keep attacking that shoulder, get Gunther up to the top rope, and Randy Orton would throw a superplex off the top rope to Gunther.
Yeah.
Don't see that a lot from good old Orton. And then right after that, they get up and just start trading chops. Gunther would actually win that battle because Gunther's pretty good at chopping people.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I wanted to point out and that I wrote, by this point in the match, we're probably 10, 15 minutes into what was a long match, it felt like Orton was the heel. I mean, there was just a total change because Orton was doing stuff like poking on Gunther in the eye, attacking the shoulders. I mean, he was really, it felt like he had become the heel in this match, just from a match working standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of is because Gunther is the hometown guy. Yeah. So it is nice that I see what you're saying. And people would obviously be like, well, duh, yeah, it's the hometown. Like, yeah, we get that. But it was nice that to be in there with somebody like Orton that can flip just like that.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't look at this as like a quote-unquote heel turn.
Oh, no.
It's just a one-off, a special circumstance. But yeah, like the thumb to the eyes and stuff like that, like it's nice. The long holds.
It was just one of those moments where it's like, this guy's been doing this for 25 years, and it shows because he can just feel a crowd, see what they want, and be like, okay. Well, I'll give you this then.
Yeah.
I'll give you this then.
Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely feel that crowd shift.
Yeah. Vintage Orton draping DDT time would occur, though. He'd hit it, and he would look at it's RKO time, and he would go for it, but it gets reversed into a big old German suplex, and then a running drop kick from Gunther, and then a splash from the top rope. It looked like Gunther was ready to go. Mm-hmm. He would go for a power bomb, his vintage just old school power bomb, but when he gets him up, can't get him up because my shoulder hurts. He'd keep doing it, and Randy would kind of try to reverse it, but he would end up kind of pissing Gunther off, and Gunther would eventually get a power bomb off. But Gunther got cocky and go for a power bomb again when RKO out of nowhere. Yep. He hits it. Mm-hmm. Even though Gunther said that nothing catches him out of nowhere.
That one did.
Mm-hmm. 1, 2, ooh, though. Randy would go to the outside of the ring, clear an announce table, and he'd go get the steel steps, put it right next to the table, the announce table, and then he'd go get the other sets and he would basically create the full. Normally, they just take the top of the steel steps, but he would get the full steel steps, all 4 steps, put it right next to the announce table, and we're thinking, what are you going to do, Mr. Orton? Randy would get Gunther over to there and take him up the steps and just, like, sidewalk drop him through the table.
Yeah, it's like that vintage Orton drop he does on the table, but just higher and through the table.
Yep.
And it was cool because the frame was still there.
Yeah, the frame of the table, he just went right through it. Like it was awesome. They get back into the ring, and Randy is like, I'm going to win my 15th world championship because I just dropped this dude through a table, and so I can RKO him.
Yeah.
He'd go for the RKO, but Gunther would throw him off and put him into the Gunther sleeper lock. Long time in this hold because Gunther couldn't wrap it in all the way because my shoulder hurted. Mm-hmm. Randy would break it up, but Gunther would smack him, chop him right in the back of the neck, and then put him right back into the lock.
Yeah, that was a cool little camera scene, I guess, or like a little look because like Orton's slowly kind of setting up for like the RKO at that point.
Yeah.
And then Gunther's like, no, we're not doing this.
Chops the shit out of him, puts him back in the sleeper hold, and then Gunther tries to jump on top of Orton to get like the full thing on him, but Orton's like, okay, you're on my back. I'm going to fall backward. Falls backward onto Gunther's back, and he's like, he sits up like, oh, my neck. Gunther pops up like the Undertaker, puts him back into the sleeper hold where it was fully locked in. Orton passes out. Gunther gets the win here, remains world champion. This match was just good stuff. Pop.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. Obviously, pretty predictable. We all thought Gunther was going to have the defense and be successful here. The match itself was your type of match. That's what I kept finding myself thinking. Like a lot of hard hitting, a lot of holds, just working stuff over. It was nice to see the shoulder like storyline, the injury go all throughout the match instead of just, like my knees hurt. The same with Cody and KO, like same thing, knee throughout the match. Like sometimes we get those where it's like, oh, this body part's injured, and then they're
but
fine.
Not right now.
Right. Yeah, they're just fine.
But so, it's the end of the match, so I'm good.
Exactly. So that was nice to see. Good match from Orton. Orton looked really good. Gunther looked really good. Right guy won here.
Yeah.
Little bit surprised that we didn't get some sort of, just as I guess as a PLE as a whole, we didn't get any kind of big oomph surprise, whether that be a return or a turn or something. Kind of missed out a little bit on that, but I mean, this match was a great way to end the show, and what I thought was a really good show.
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you said. This was my kind of match. I'm a stiff wrestling worker. I like when they smack each other. I like when it looks like it hurts because I know that wrestling is scripted, but you got put some love in there. Hit each other. And obviously that's what they did here, and the logic is logic. He's hurt, so he's hurt, and that's good stuff. My only thing here is obviously we picked this to happen. A lot of people picked this to happen. It's Gunther's first title defense. The man just set the record for the longest IC title reign ever, so it would feel weird if he then just lost the big title right away.
Right.
But in terms of Raw and in terms of SmackDown with Randy, it's like, where does either of these guys go? Are we going to get a second match or a third payoff match here? Well, Orton's down 2-0.
Right.
So what are we doing there?
Yeah.
It just kind of feels like this match didn't set a path at all for either guy, which is fine, but something to look at. It's like, well, who's next up on Raw? I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, that is a fair thought to have because I don't really know. But, and also it kind of puts Randy in a weird spot on SmackDown because Kevin and Cody just had a match and we assume they're going to have a second match.
Yeah.
So Randy's just kind of hanging out. Maybe he plays like the middleman and then maybe Randy makes his decision and he turns on or something like that. Maybe that's how they do the heel turn. Now that I'm thinking about it. In terms of Raw and Gunther, we did our Bad Blood predictions, what we think is going to happen at Bad Blood in terms of the card. I didn't have him on the card. I think that's probably becoming more apparent.
Yeah.
Because there is nobody that's a real challenger. Because the only person to me for Raw that you could point to would be Damian Priest. Because Priest did lose the title. And Priest looked really, really good here. But obviously, they're not just going to, oh, well, that is what it is. It's over. Like, they're not going to do that. So I don't know what they do. So you have, the end of August, early September. So you've got about 2 months then for Survivor Series. So they could at least take the time to build somebody up there. And that's probably, at least in my eyes, what they do.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement because I really don't have a better route for it. One thing that I did want to ask, just because they did the interview beforehand with Michael Cole and Randy Orton, and we didn't watch it, but Michael Cole pointed out through the match that he asked Randy Orton, do you think you're going to win more championships here? And Randy said, yeah, I'm going to win 15. I'm going to win 16. I'm going to win 17. But
he's LeBron James.
But with the talent that WWE has, young talent and middle-aged talent that is just on the way up, and the way Triple H does longer title reigns after longer title reigns, and he kind of makes it feel like if you win the big title, then you get your own story for a little bit. Does it feel like Randy's not going to win the big one again? It'd be tough, man. I love Randy.
As of right now, it doesn't feel that way. Yeah. I think he does because we all do have thoughts of Cena and Orton, some way, somehow, or Orton and Cody, some way, somehow. Yeah. I think there are a couple of storylines that you could go with Orton. Either way, I would be happy with. Where I think he does take that belt, and I think maybe I don't want to say he finishes at 15. But like if I had to bet, I'd probably say he gets one more.
I agree.
I think John probably breaks it. John probably gets 17. Then Orton probably gets 15. And then they probably just end it that way.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I don't know who he'd beat for it. In my eyes, it wouldn't be terrible if Orton were to somehow rip it off Cody eventually, if you can get a good enough heel Orton out of it. And then maybe Cena can rip it off Orton that way, and it'd be a good way to just handshake to one another, and a good hat tilt, whatever you call it, but head nod. But I mean, I hope so. Would I bet on it? I don't think I'd bet on it at this point. I just think that there's too much talent, and there's too long of reigns, and there's just too many stories that we want to see, and there's too many long-term stories booked in terms of like, we think The Rock's going to come back and get another go at that belt. You got to think Roman's going to get that belt again at some point. And when he gets it, God knows how long and stuff like that. So the World Heavyweight title is definitely the one I think that he would have to go for. And if they're not going to run back Gunther and Orton, what do you do there? And even if they do run it back, it's still like, well, there's only be Gunther's second title defense, right? Like, you still have that. So it's tough to look into the future on that one for me.
Yeah, they're kind of in a weird spot as a whole.
Yeah.
Like we said, Rock, Roman, Cena, like maybe Orton, Cody.
And you still have guys like AJ Styles. Mm-hmm. Like, you have relevant talent.
Yeah, you have relevant talent, but those feuds are all down the line.
Yeah.
At least immediately, like right now, I don't know what they do kind of with either of them, because we kind of feel like they're just placeholders right now, right? Like, they're just going to hold the belt until Rumble, Mania, and then they're maybe going to drop the belt then.
Rollins.
Yeah, I mean, Punk. Rollins is going to come back.
I mean,
yeah.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
He's not getting any younger.
No, I think he does get one more, though.
I hope so.
I don't know when, but I hope he does. That was kind of what I was telling people, was like, I know Gunther's going to win this match. I have no reason to believe that Orton is going to win this match. They haven't shown me anything, but like, I just want him to,
Yeah.
I just want one more run, whenever that is down the line. I think him and Cody probably, for me at least, is maybe the more likely thing. And then maybe he drops it to John, because maybe if he and Cody feud, Orton goes off to John, and then maybe Cody can get tied up, as bad as it sounds, again with the bloodline stuff again.
Yeah.
That would probably be the way that it happens, at least in my eyes, because I don't know what else they do. They're in a weird spot. SmackDown, there's no heels, right? But then Raw right now, there's really no faces to take away the belt from Gunther. Credible stuff. So it's like, one show you have credible heel, one show you have credible baby faces, but they're on different shows, but then there's nothing built up around those things. And, it's probably a thing, even with Nia Jax. I mean, I understand Nia just defended against Mi Chen, and you have Bayley coming back with like Tiffany and her, and obviously that cash-in's going to happen, whether it's successful or not. But you look at that, and it's like, there's no real credible people for the women's main title. And like, yeah, you have Liv and Rhea. Credible.
No, you have Rhea.
Yeah. You have the Liv and Rhea feud, and Rhea obviously, as of today, she could win the men's world title right now.
I think so.
And be fine. But it's like, I don't think they're dropping that belt right now. Mm-mm. So I feel like the main 4 tag titles aren't defended. I feel like these titles and everything are just kind of staying put for a while.
Yeah, it's looking that way. Not really much else to say. It's looking that way. But in terms of Randy, hopefully he gets one, because the man deserves it, and he's 40 whatever years old, 45, 46, and he can still put on long, hard-hitting matches like this. So props to him. But overall, Bash of Berlin was exactly, I think, how we thought it was going to go. We said that this is going to be a predictable PLE, but the potential for the matches are going to be high quality, and I think that they all, match quality-wise, every one of them hit.
Match quality-wise, I thought they were all really good. We both went 4 or 5 on the predictions.
Yep.
The only one being the Terror Twins.
Yep.
I still don't like that.
No.
I guess we'll wait and see. Maybe the internet, there's a lot smarter people out there than us that maybe they can book something and to show us something like, hey, they maybe do this for this. And then maybe then I'll be excited and bought back in. But right now, kind of a sour taste in the mouth there. But yeah, overall, good PLE.
Looking forward to Raw on Monday to see where we go with that, because it's, we're on the TikTok on the J Day. But overall, pop for this show. Bash in Berlin was great. PLEs are doing well here in the WWE. Mm-hmm. But as always, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to our podcast wherever you get yours. Spotify, Apple, etc. And then, of course, if you want to follow our Discord, Look in our link tree in our bio. Come talk. We had people chatting the entire Bash at Berlin. Thank you all for that. Looking forward to more joining, looking for more conversations. But until next time, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you next time.